Super what?
Shaky.
The desk?
Yeah, between the box, the books.
Oh.
All right, guys, welcome to episode number... All right, guys, welcome to episode number 209 of the Digital Barbell Podcast.
Episode 209, take 22.
Audio problems, stuff on my face, this beanie interfering with the sound quality. Man, okay, we got a really, really good episode for you today based on a really popular Instagram post and email that we sent out. But before we get to that, y'all, it's been crazy in Texas the last 12 hours. And I just wonder, how do our clients up in the Northeast, in the North, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, wherever, how do they deal with this? Because are we like just ill prepared for this? Because tell everybody what's going on.
I don't think this happens. I don't know, maybe it does. But so we're kind of like, it's been raining, but it's been like 28 degrees. So everything that has fallen is just like frozen. So everything is frozen. Our cars are frozen. Our gate is frozen. Every leaf and piece of grass is
branch on the tree
super thick with ice. And so, I mean, you just hear trees breaking. We're in the hill country out here outside of Austin and just surrounded by trees. And you're just like, we woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning to just trees breaking. And it's just been nonstop trees breaking all around us. You just hear them in the distance, like an echo of trees breaking constantly. It's very spooky.
Speaking of things in the distance, if you can hear our dog snoring in the background, we apologize for that.
But it's weird. Luckily
there's not a like big tree on our property that doesn't have a limb broken off. Our deck is completely covered in branches and knocked down stuff. It's crazy. It's still happening. Like you just stand outside every 30 seconds, like
and it's unfortunately gonna like kind of rain, snow, whatever they're calling this again tonight, and like probably I don't know. Man. But anyway. Yeah, it's strange.
Luckily, we've had power and heat the whole time, so we feel blessed for that.
For sure.
And there's a lot of people who have it a lot worse than us, so keep it in perspective. But
and it's like the surfaces of, I think you could probably drive on those surfaces. It's like the surfaces are fine. It's like just the things that absorb water are just frozen and full.
Yeah,
it's very strange.
And like our cars look like glazed donuts. They're just like completely.
We didn't realize like we had parked one under a tree. Like that was not even like a tree, that was like near it. And the weight of this stuff is just like all the trees are like touching the ground everywhere. And so our car was under one and it just like kept getting lower and lower. And it was like laying on it. And so finally we just like drove it out because I think it was like protected.
Yeah, there was a quarter of an inch of ice on the branches and a quarter of an inch of ice on the car. So it was like, they'll probably just glide against each other.
Hopefully it didn't scratch it.
Yeah. If not, if it did, it's for sale.
No.
Okay, so that's going on. One other thing that I wanted to bring up, I didn't even tell you about this, is I put a thing in our private Facebook group asking if anybody had any questions when we were thinking about doing a Q&A episode.
Okay.
And our client, Mary, asked for our opinion on something.
Okay. In
January, the chain gym Equinox did not allow new members to join on January 1st. And they said, this is the
Equinox?
notice. It's a kind of a boutique-y Globo gym kind of thing. Like I think people get all dressed up and go work out there just to be seen. But anyway, they put this up in their locations, and I took a screenshot of it.
Okay.
They said, January is a language we don't understand, a fantasy delivered to your door in a pastel-colored box. It talks about change. It wants you to start something when you should be in the middle of it. It thinks time is on its side. It needs a new outfit before it can begin. Stalling, shortcutting, giving up. We don't speak January. And they wouldn't let new members join on January 1st.
But you could join on January 2nd.
Right. So this really
makes no sense.
So Mary wanted to know what our thoughts on this were.
Yeah.
I think what the point behind it was, like, we're not interested in people joining our gym who aren't really committed, who are just joining because they want to start something new.
Right.
What do you think about them having that philosophy, like kind of shunning people for that reason?
Well, I think the whole thing is silly that they said you can't start on January 1st, because I think January 1st was a Sunday this year. And so, start on Monday the 2nd. That's fine.
Good
so
point.
their whole point is I don't even.
Yeah, but what do you think of the underlying sentiment? I think that's what Mary wanted to know.
It comes off pretty rude.
Yeah.
But it comes off rude, but I also get why they're saying that. They're saying like they want people who are not just going to like follow a fad of like every January I join a gym, I start and I go for 3 weeks and then they never see me again.
Right.
That's what they're trying to avoid.
And I think they were maybe trying to like show their core members that are consistent, like, hey, we're for you guys.
Yeah.
We're not for these new people coming in to get in your way and sweat all over the machines and not know what they're doing. But I think that's kind of ostracizing to the people who are new. Like, you got to remember, everybody was new at some point, whether they joined on January 1st or February, whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was, I mean, they got a lot of publicity out of it, so maybe it turned out to be beneficial for them. But I would say overall, my thinking with that is like, it's rude. It's unnecessary. And any benefit your current core members saw out of it or good feelings they got is not worth like ostracizing somebody who's already going to be intimidated to start. Like, maybe that would have been the thing that turned their fitness around, walking in the door at least and getting started.
Like, so and that was the day for them. And
I think it was dumb.
They turned them down. Yeah, I do too.
All right, so that's what we think about that.
Plus the date made no sense.
Yeah. They should have checked with Blakely on the scheduling.
Okay, so we put up a post the other day that was all about a 1-year plan for your training and for your nutrition to optimize your body composition and your health while still enjoying your life. And I got a lot of response. So we kind of want to talk through, why we would put up this plan. Why would we like periodize training the way we did?
Think about it this way?
Yeah. So if you want to, be a dork and pull up the post, you can follow along with us. In a good way. But anyway, that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah. So let's talk about like what the heck is periodization in the first place, because it could mean a lot of different things. It's really just a fancy way of saying I'm going to think about my time in different blocks, and I'm going to have a goal during this block, and then I'm going to have a goal during that block. It's not just starting something with a never-ending pursuit with no regard for time, change of plans, interruptions of reality, that kind of stuff.
And this is applicable to anybody, like whether you have a significant amount of weight to lose, whether you just want to have some body recomposition, whether you want to put on some muscle mass, anything.
And we use this same technique in a lot of different areas of our life. Like if you're going to school to be a lawyer, like that's the time that you're periodizing to get that degree. And then you move on past that and you're progressing with your practice. And then maybe you go pursue something else. There's a million different examples, but it's really just having a goal that has a definitive purpose and a timeline to it to maximize your results and make it fit within the constraints of your life too. So that's the whole point of periodizing.
The school is a good example of why, if you did have a significant amount of weight to lose, you're not just starting your diet, say January 1, and then I'm going to be on that diet for 5 years. What do you, when you go to school, like say if you enrolled in college, you go for a semester, you have a break. You go for a semester, you have a break. You go for a semester,
you move to the next grade.
Yeah. Right.
So I think that makes sense of why we do it. Plus, there's a lot of body composition benefits to doing it, because sometimes you'll ask somebody like, what are your goals? And they're like, I want to get strong. I want to get a 6-pack. I want to run a marathon. I want to have a double body weight squat, and I want to be able to do a toe touch. It's like, okay, that's way too many things to focus on at one time. It's not like you can't accomplish all those things, but you're going to have a better result if we periodize it out and we tackle one thing at a time with a plan. So when we talk about somebody who wants to build muscle, get leaner, get more athletic, look better naked, all that kind of stuff, we can take advantage of the calendar and periodize our training and nutrition out to maximize our body composition by not always being focused on one thing throughout the whole year, by spending dedicated times getting better, as we're going to talk about in this episode. And I'm looking at notes too here, so bear with me. If I sound like I'm reading, I'm not. Another benefit of doing it this way is kind of like you alluded to, starting a diet and then like, I'm on this diet for the next 5 years. That's going to wear you out mentally. You're going to give up. You're going to mess up and fall into the all or nothing mentality, all that kind of stuff. You're going to get invited to parties. The holidays come around. You're going to feel socially ostracized. And periodizing your training and nutrition throughout the year based on your real life and travel and holidays and stuff is a way to avoid that social thing where you kind of avoid that feeling of like, I should be doing this, but I'm failing. No, you went into this time with a dedicated goal, purpose, and plan. So there's no reason to feel like you're failing because that's what you're focusing on right now. So that's another benefit. This can be a little bit more challenging if you just go to a CrossFit gym or you just go to F45 or you just do burn boot camp or whatever, because they're not going to take into account your special circumstances and schedule.
Unless you want to try at CrossFit. I did periodize throughout the year, so
But that's a general periodization plan for the flow of the gym. Like when we're talking about like how to do this on a more individual basis. Not that you can't do it in that context, especially with your nutrition, because that's always within your control. But you have to kind of hear everything we're saying and think about how can I apply this to my life and my training if I go to one of those kinds of classes. Maybe I need to add something in during the blocks that we're going to talk through.
Also keep in mind that we're going to go ahead and go through it in a calendar year setting. But if this does not fit like your lifestyle, your personal calendar year, you could take the notes and just adjust the months.
Yep.
As it sees fit to you.
The purpose still remains. And then I want to say that this outline that we're giving isn't meant for you to like run dictation on this episode and then follow it to the exact T. This is a framework to follow that makes you understand the process, and then you need to apply it to your own life with some flexibility. And it also takes you deciding like, I'm going to commit to doing this process for 6, 9, 12 months. Like a lot of times we're just like, I'm going to work out.
I'm going to start.
And we just leave it there.
Right.
But you can take advantage of this if you really commit to going through all these phases. I was talking to somebody on the phone today about this process exactly. And, when you look at somebody who is just like, they're at the upper echelons of whatever they're doing with their fitness or their physique. Take a CrossFit Games athlete. They're going through these stages throughout the year. That's just the way that it's done.
Yeah.
So understanding that committing to doing this for a longer period of time and going through these blocks has a long-term payoff if you're willing to do it.
Yeah.
So what I meant to say before I got sidetracked in my own brain was take this framework, but don't like get religious about the grams of protein. We're going to tell you grams of protein, but don't fixate on that little thing.
Right.
Think about the big picture and then like adjust it to your own lifestyle. If we say, spend this long in a fat loss phase, but that happens to like correspond with you booking a cruise to Jamaica for 2 weeks, you're going to have to change the plan.
Yeah.
Even if it's suboptimal, it's okay. Like it's okay to adjust your plan within this framework.
Right. Did you accidentally pour regular instead of decaf coffee? Just curious.
It feels like it. I tell you, when I talk passionately about something, like I get out of breath, my throat starts closing up. I like it though.
All right. Are we ready to get into it?
So before we get into this, we broke the whole year up into 4 chunks. Maybe we already said that, but that's the way that we're going to go through this.
Okay.
And you'll understand why as we go through.
Yeah. So the first chunk, if you're listening to this fairly soon after it comes out, is the January through April. So this is what we're all in right now. And so we've just come off of, even if you weren't periodizing your training and periodizing your nutrition, we have all pretty much all come off of a surplus.
A lot of abundant food in the previous few months.
Yes. So that is the plan. Why the plan is like it is for January through April. We all come off with surplus. There was just the past holiday. We're gonna work on. You want to start with the nutrition, and then I'll go into the training.
Yeah, like you said, we're coming out of a time where food was abundant. Maybe we were already eating a little bit more than we should have. Our metabolisms are in a great place. Our hormones are in a great place because our bodies are happy when we put abundant food in. I'm not talking about like grossly overeating, but so we're in a place where if you can fall into 2 different categories.
Well, also our motivation is high usually at this time of year, just like the topic of that gym. We're ready to start something else, and weather is starting to trend nicer, so we can like get outside more. We can take advantage of more activity. All those things are in place.
You're ready, you're willing, and you're able. Those are the 3 ingredients you got to have. So we're going to take advantage of that on the nutrition front. Okay. So let's divide you up into 2 categories. If you're somebody who has a healthy BMI already, and we'll talk about what that is, you got 2 choices to do during this block of your periodization. You can either eat at your maintenance calories, which is what you would eat normally, maybe during a non-holiday time. Yeah. Or you can go into a slight calorie surplus this time of year and focus especially on building muscle and building strength, because unless you're a rank novice, you need extra calories beyond your maintenance calories to build new muscle tissue. So that's on the table. Now, I would recommend just going into a slight surplus during this time because you're just coming out of the holiday season where you may have been in one already. So that could be individualized based on the situation, but that's a good recommendation, especially the fall towards the surplus side. If you're somebody who is really under muscled, like you don't have a lot of muscle mass on you, you don't have any muscle definition, your strength is lagging, you're somebody who could really benefit from a small calorie surplus during this time. And then as far as, we're still talking about the healthy BMI kind of person here, eat about 0.8 grams of protein per day per pound that you weigh so that you can push a lot of calories towards carbohydrates, because that's what's going to fuel your training. And that 0.8 grams of protein per day is still plenty to help you build muscle, especially if you're focusing on high quality sources of protein like animal sources and
Quick
dairy.
math, if you're a 200-pound male, you would eat 160 grams of protein a day.
Yeah.
Correct.
And you might think that's on the low end, but we'll talk about another scenario where you probably want to eat more protein. But for maintaining and building muscle, that's a good sweet spot because it gives you plenty of carbs to play with. So if you've thought that you're going to be on a low carb diet during this time, then it's not the case.
Right.
Okay. We want you to eat fiber. This is going to be a constant throughout on the nutrition front, but that's just because a high fiber diet is an indication that you're eating a diet rich with high quality, micronutrient rich, low calorie, high volume foods like fruits and vegetables and whole grains and beans and all that kind of good stuff where fiber comes from. So women, we want you to eat 25 or more grams of fiber per day. Men, we want you to eat 35 or more grams of fiber per day. Of course, there is some room for some wiggle room in there depending on how many calories you eat. But that's something we would have to get into a granular approach with you on an individual basis. But that's a great recommendation.
I just confused myself real quick.
Okay.
Because when I measure my meat sources, I measure in ounces. So like I'll take 4 ounces of chicken.
Right.
But then, because if you log it in my Fitness Pal or something,
it knows how many
you the
grams of protein are in that.
All right. I was just thinking
It's been
to
a long
myself.
day. She's been dealing in spreadsheets like solid for the last 3 days. I think your brain is fried.
No,
for
I was
numbers.
just trying to think of like how would that calculate out? But yeah.
Yeah, most lean sources of protein have about 25 grams of protein for a 4-ounce serving.
Right.
Which is kind of a normal serving for most people.
Got
All right, so the goal, if you are doing this block of periodization to gain a little bit of weight, gain a little bit of muscle, is to gain about 0.5% to 1% of your body weight per month. If you're gaining at that slow of a rate, you can guarantee almost all of it is lean mass, aka muscle. Much more than that, you're probably picking up a little extra body fat. So weigh yourself daily and keep your eye on that. Okay, let's move on to people who are overweight or in the obese category as far as BMI. We need to use this time where our motivation is high, our metabolism's in a great place to get down into a calorie deficit and lose some weight. Again, this is January through April, so we're talking about a 4-month block here. And of course, it depends how much fat you have to lose. But we're going to have you in about a 15% calorie deficit during this time. That's going to be the thing that creates fat loss over time. And we want you to eat between 1 and 1.2 grams of protein per pound that you weigh per day. So much higher than the person who's trying to maintain or gain. Why do we want to put a focus on protein when we're in a deficit to lose fat? Number one, it's super filling. Try to sit down and eat 3 chicken breasts. I dare you. And then try to eat 3 servings of cereal for the same amount of calories. It won't be a problem at all. So high protein is great for keeping you full in a diet. It's also your best defense against losing muscle in a deficit. So that's why the emphasis on protein. Now, if you're in your mind, you're like, shoot, I'm a 250 pound guy. He just told me to eat 1.2 grams of protein per pound per day. That's a lot. Okay, so there is a cap to this. There's a point of diminishing returns. In general terms, I would put the cap for men at about 200 grams, regardless of how much weight you have to lose, and at about 150 grams for ladies, regardless of how much you have to lose. Okay,
what if you're only eating about 50 grams?
Of protein?
How would you just go all in day one?
Yeah, go find a butcher and just go crazy.
I mean, day one, go ahead and eat 150 to 200 grams.
Yeah, first of all, you probably wouldn't even have a clue how to do that, and you'd just be astonished. But yes, in general, if you're grossly under how much protein you should be eating, creep it up over time. Your stomach will thank you. Your significant other will thank you, if you know what I mean. Your bed sheets will thank you because you won't have the meat sweats at night. increase it about 10 grams per day or 40 grams over the course of a week, 50 grams over the course of the week until you get to the threshold where you're supposed to be at.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Okay. BMI is kind of poo-pooed on a lot because people say BMI stinks. And people are like, oh, I heard BMI stinks. It's still a great way to measure for most people. It's a formula. It's your weight in kilograms divided by your height in meters squared. Or you can just Google BMI calculator and they'll give you a one that works in inches and pounds also. So it's a relationship between your height and weight essentially. So it's a pretty good gauge. The only thing it doesn't work well for is people who have above average amounts of muscle mass, like me, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
I tested it out today, and actually, where my weight is right now, I'm in the overweight category. When I finish a cut, I'm about 10 pounds lighter than I am now, and I fall into the normal range. So that just shows you if you have a good amount of muscle but you're lean, you're probably still going to fall into the average range.
Yeah.
Regardless, if you're confused, send us a message. We'll help you understand if your BMI is healthy or not. But the healthy range for BMI is between 18.5 to 24.9. Anything over 25 to 29.9 is considered overweight, and above 29.9 is considered obese. So that gives you kind of a guideline to, what should I do? Should I fall into the deficit category or into the maintenance / potentially eating in a surplus category? Okay, I think we killed this first block.
Well,
on the
let's
nutrition.
talk about what we're going to do for our training during this time. So remember, we're either in a fat loss phase or we're in a maintenance or slight surplus phase. We've just come off the holidays. So we're going to do 3 to 5 strength workouts per week, focusing on progressive overload. So we want to have a plan. We want to be adding weight to our bar, be adding reps to our sets each time we work out. We want to be doing 1 to 2 conditioning sessions per week, with one of them being in the short, intense range, like 8 minutes or under, and one of them being in like the long to moderate range, which is like the 12 to 20 minute range. So we can hit both like some anaerobic and some aerobic type conditioning workouts. And then we want to be watching our steps. We want to make sure we're getting between that 8 and 10,000 step count per day. And if you aren't already watching your steps, you wouldn't believe how much that makes a difference, just getting daily movement in.
Yep. That's something we focus on regardless, just for overall health.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how much all that extra time on your feet helps your tendon strength and your overall muscle endurance, your posture, your low back from not sitting so much. You can listen to podcasts when you walk. So that's going to be a theme. If
you're trying to create your own training template, this is a 4-month block, January, February, March, April. I would start with a linear strength progression if you're a newbie. So 3 sets of 5 reps, starting at a lightweight and adding weight every time your workout is successful, meaning you get all 3 sets with perfect form. You're ready to add weight. So you can just write out, squat, press, deadlift, bench press. You're doing all of those. And then you want to think about some accessories. So you want to think about some pulling accessories, some pushing accessories, some accessories for your triceps and accessories for your biceps. And you can
forget the glutes.
Yeah, for your glutes. And you're going to get, you can Google to find 1 or 2 of those, add to each session that you're in the gym. And then, within your conditioning, you're going to get a little bit more, push-ups, air squats, running, jumping, things like that.
Shoot, you could download our 5-week arms, abs, and the rest program.
Really? Yeah. Or the 2-week turnaround would be great. And just kind of repeat that.
Yeah.
Because that will give you a great, what was the other one? Full body remodel. That's also on our free downloads. Full body remodel would be a great.
Is that an 8-week program or is that 4 weeks?
I'm trying to remember.
Okay.
I can't remember. I think it's a 4-week, but you could repeat that. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. And you could pick out and make sure that I'm only doing right now 1 to 2 conditionings. Remember, one is on that shorter side, more intense, and one is longer to moderate. And this will kind of repeat throughout the year, but let me talk really quickly about this intensity that we want.
Yeah, I think people are confused about that.
Yeah, so when we want to make sure that we're not. I think you posted something about this, or not just going to do your workouts or whatever. I did my workout checkbox. Yeah, you did your workout, but what was your level of intensity for everything that you did?
Yeah.
So for our conditioning workouts, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. Like,
you know that you were near the most that you could do.
Yeah.
Like you didn't let your mind get in the way of stopping what your body was capable of. Because your mind will always want to quit before your body does. But if you're truly going to get to the intensity that drives the most adaptation you're going to get, regardless of what block you're in, it has to be at the fringes of what you're capable of.
Yeah.
Not your max heart rate, not going to failure every single time.
Right.
But you need to know that you did it.
So this is a good, just like if you follow across they have benchmark workouts that are named. So Helen is a good benchmark workout example. It's in that 12, it's in that longer to moderate range. It's about in that 12-minute range. It's 3 rounds of a 400-meter run. You do 21 kettlebell swings and 12 pull-ups, repeated 3 times. So what this would look like with some intensity is you take off on your run. You're not sprinting your 400-meter run because you know that you have some work to do, but you're also, you're pushing the pace a little bit. You walk back into your gym space, take 3 or 4 breaths, and you start your kettlebell swings. Ideally, you can get that first set of swings unbroken. You don't want to ever push yourself beyond to where you're out of control and you're not controlling your form. But if you get that set of 21 kettlebell swings, you walk over, take a couple breaths, walk over to the pull-up bar, you chunk away at your pull-ups. And pull-ups are different for everybody. You can maybe do all 12 in a row, or you can do 6 sets of 2. Whatever it is, you're just like up, back, up, back, up, back. Start walking out the door, catch your breath, start to jog, then start to pick that pace up. And you're going to kind of repeat that for 3 cycles. Each time you take a break, like when I was coaching people in the gym, I would be like, if you needed to take a break during a workout, I want you to walk to the spot on the floor, walk right back, and then pick up the weight and go. Starting to build those kind of things into your workouts will help you bring that intensity level up. Also, last thing on this is kind of keeping a clean workout environment to where, you've laid it all out. Like when I give my workouts, I give a little warm up. So you kind of want to have your plan. If you have 2 or 3 movements, you want everything to kind of be in a close space so that you don't lose transition time.
Efficient.
So you're efficient in your workouts. That helps keep that intensity level up. I get onto Jonathan a lot about I'm pretty competitive when I work out with him. And I always know, even if he's faster than me at some movement, I can get him in the transitions because he transitions so slowly between movements. Anyway.
So the thing you're pointing out is you don't check your phone during your conditioning workout.
Oh, no.
You really don't. You're focused.
Yeah.
You're putting in the intent.
A workout that takes you 3 minutes, if it's a workout that takes you 9 minutes, if a workout takes you 20 minutes, that's your focus during that time.
There's no 1 minute breaks during a conditioning workout.
You might get a sip of water if you absolutely need it, and then you're right back to work.
Yeah.
All right.
Good job.
All right. Next is May through July.
Block number 2 of periodizing for maximum body composition and still enjoying your life.
Our overall goal here, May, June, July, we're trying to start to lean out for the summer.
What does leaning out mean? Losing body fat. I think some people are confused about that.
Oh, okay.
So that's what it means.
Yeah.
Shedding some body fat to reveal all the hard work that you've put in January through April.
All right.
We'll call this the payoff.
The payoff.
Do you want to do the nutrition first again?
Yeah.
All right. So we're coming off of 2 different scenarios.
Yeah.
Our healthy BMI person has either been at maintenance or they've been in a slight surplus.
Yeah.
All right. So they've built some muscle or they've gained a little bit of muscle and a little body fat, maybe. During this block, we're going to transition them to either a calorie deficit, like our other person with the unhealthy BMI originally, or we're going to stay at maintenance if we're still at a good body weight and we didn't gain any fat. If we still have fat to lose, or we want to see our abs, that's the person that would go back down into a deficit. But you have either option here. I can't see you because your arms are in the way.
I was writing a note for myself.
Okay, so let's talk about how much of a calorie deficit. As a general rule, I would recommend about a 15% calorie deficit if you're going to see some progress during this time. Any less than that, the progress might be a little slow and you want to quit. Any higher than that, you might give up after 2 weeks. So that's the sweet spot for most people. We're going to change your protein a little bit if you're the person that's going into a calorie deficit to lose fat. We're going to bump it up from that 0.8 range up into the 1 to 1.2 grams per day per pound that you weigh if you're going to be losing fat during this time. For the same reason that I just explained for the overweight person in the first block of the year. So we're going to keep fiber high, 25 for women, 35 for men, and that's what we're going to do. the reason that we already explained why we're bringing protein up in the last example, so I'll leave that alone. As far as progress goes, we want to be losing about 0.5% or 1% of our body weight per week.
Okay.
The bulking, the gaining phase, that was 0.5% to 1% per month. In the cutting phase, the fat loss phase, we want to be shooting for about 0.5% to 1% per week. Okay. And the way you find that is you weigh yourself every day, you divide by 7, you compare that to the next week. And don't freak out if it's not exactly that on week 2. Stick with it and look at how it's trending over time. Now, if you are in the overweight or obese BMI category, you've been in a deficit for 4 months already. You are probably ready for a break. If you had a lot of weight to lose, you probably didn't reach your ultimate goal during those 4 months, and that's completely fine. This whole process of periodization, fat loss, changing your body composition is a much longer term process. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And that's a mind shift for a lot of people. They think they just have to step on the gas and hold it down till they get to their goal. And that's why a lot of people fail, give up, and yo-yo diet on and off for year after year after year. Periodization helps with that. So we're going to actually chill here for this person, and we're going to just try to maintain the progress that we made in the first 4 months of the year. So we're going to bring our calories up to a level that helps us maintain the progress that we've already made. We're going to keep our protein high, though, for this person. Still in that 1 to 1.2 grams per day per pound range, or the caps that I set before for men and women. We're going to keep fiber the same. And what this time of maintenance is going to do, all the hormones that control your hunger and your satiety, those are going to get a reset during this time. Your body's going to say, man, we've made some amazing progress, but we're not in a starvation situation. We don't have to crank up the hunger on this person to try to make them eat more to regain the weight that they lost. So that's one of the reasons metabolically for this. It also helps prevent metabolic adaptation, the process by which your body downregulates your energy demands because you've been putting in less food for so long. Helps reset that. Also, you're probably ready for a mental break from low calories by this point. Nobody was probably perfect during that 4 months, but trust me, you'll be ready by May to spend some time at maintenance. And don't look at this as failure. We're doing this on purpose. This is part of the periodized plan. And then as you switch your mentality over into this maintenance mindset, don't expect the scale to go down. That's a hard thing for people. We've been so focused for the first 4 months on, am I making progress? And the measure of that is, am I losing weight? Shift your expectation for progress now to be your performance in the gym and maintaining the progress that you've made. Maintenance is progress in this scenario. So reframe your mindset around that and mentally think like, I have more calories now to push harder in the gym. There's a little bit of placebo effect with that. Not to mention the actual benefit of having more calories. If you're having little tweaks that you've developed along the way, they're more likely to heal with adequate calories, and you're more likely to start lifting more weight and get even stronger during this block.
Yeah, I would say you would even see some body composition changes during this time that it wouldn't reflect on the scale, but would reflect in like your other metrics, like what you look like in the mirror, pictures, how clothes fit, things like that.
And there's a good chance, like you said, your body composition, make sure you're taking progress pictures during this phase, because you might just see your weight staying about the same, but like you said, you might be recomping during this time, losing some fat and building muscle.
If we are hitting our training.
If we are hitting the training. So let's get into that.
Yeah. So for the training, we're going to keep it about the same. We're going to still hit the 3 to 5 workouts per week. We're going to add a little bit more conditioning. We want more like 2 to 3 conditionings per week, 2 short to intense, 1 longer in that 20-minute range, and still hitting our steps. So we have our template. We downloaded the full body remodel. We're going
full body remodel. You mean full body fit?
Full body fit from Digital Barbell, and we are loving it. If you're a newbie to this, you might still be making progress on your linear progression, your 3x5s. If you're still making progress and you're still adding weight to the bar, stick with those. If you've started to tap out and you it's a struggle bus to add weight every week, you have to feel like you repeat the weight over and over again before you can add weight, it's time to take the weight down and add some volume. So you might go 3 sets of 8 to 10 with a lighter weight on all the same lifts. I would also add some sets to your accessories. So if we were doing 3 hard sets before, maybe it's time to go up to 4 hard sets right now. I would also think about changing some of those accessories just to make it a little bit more like sexy and fun for you.
Get a new stimulus on the muscle.
Yeah, so for example, like if we were doing dumbbell rows, and you've done 4 months of dumbbell rows and you're just like, I'm sick of dumbbell rows, like we can do some bent over rows, we can do
some seated cable rows, some pull downs.
That's what we're talking about. If you've been doing tricep extensions for 4 months, let's do some kickbacks, let's do some close grip bench, something that's going to hit the triceps, but a little bit different. All right.
I'm laughing because anybody watching the YouTube version of this, you'll see that she's acting it out. Y'all, when she is coaching her clients and watching their form check videos and she's typing feedback for them, she at her desk like demos the movement to like see
I'm like, okay, I want you to do like this.
So she's over there doing the movement with no weight.
He's always like, what are you doing?
That's so funny.
I'm helping them.
You are, but you're also like being an actor. I like it.
All right, phase 3, August through October. So our goal for this overall phase is restoration, bringing our body back to homeostasis, and setting a new weight point. Set point for our weight? What does that mean?
Well, your body has this craving for homeostasis, and if we're constantly trying to push it in one direction or the other, like it's good to spend some time establishing your new level to kind of tell your body, okay, this is where I'm at right now. Maybe you've noticed this in your own life, somebody listening to this, like if you just kind of put your fitness, your eating, whatever on kind of cruise control, your body weight kind of floats at a certain level, fluctuates, but that's kind of your set point. Some people call it like their natural weight or something like that. But we want to just drill that in during this phase. Your body loves homeostasis. So that's one of the reasons for this. So we're coming out of the summer. We've been in a deficit. So bringing calories up. I can't see when you put your hand there.
I'm just thinking about what I'm
Edit this out, producer. It's just a great thing for your overall health to spend these times at maintenance. So that's one of the reasons for this phase. So let's talk about what we're going to do with our nutrition during this time. If you've come out of summer, you've been in a calorie deficit, kind of like our overweight person who dieted for the first 4 months of the year. Now you're going to spend some time at maintenance, even if you were at a healthy weight and you did a short cut to reveal some progress in the summer. So we're going to do the reverse of what we did with our protein. Now in this phase, we're going to bring it back down to the 0.8 grams of protein per pound per body weight per day. Probably one too many pers in there. Fiber's still going to stay at 25 for old ladies. Fiber's still going to stay at 35.
Like you said old ladies. 4 ladies.
I may have.
You said 4 ladies.
4 ladies. For old ladies.
Just 4 ladies.
Old ladies, you go straight to the Metamucil. That stuff's gross too, by the way.
Have you ever taken it?
I bought it wasn't Metamucil brand, but it was a psyllium husk powder, which is what Metamucil is. I'd much rather get my
fiber from raspberries.
My fiber from raspberries. Those actually taste good. All right, so that's what we're doing if you had a healthy BMI. We're coming up to maintenance calories. We're getting out of that deficit. We're bringing protein down a little bit, and we're ramping up the carbs so we can push the performance in the gym. This is going to be a great season of progress for you. Okay, our overweight and obese client, we're going to bring them back down into a deficit because we've been in a phase where we've been maintaining, flexing our skills for that maintenance and resetting all of our hunger hormones, and motivation has been building and we are ready to get back onto this deficit. We're going down into a 15% calorie deficit during this time. Protein is going to stay the same for this person, 1 to 1.2 grams per pound per day. Another per in there. Fiber staying the same. Fiber is going to stay the same throughout. Spoiler alert. Eat your fiber, people. You'd be shocked how much better your digestion is.
Why don't you drop some links to some helpful fiber tips? I know we have them in this episode. Okay. So people know what is fiber and how to get it.
Okay. Remind me.
All right.
that's you could sum up our marriage.
Remind me.
In that phrase right there. Hey,
like,
remind me.
Hey, remind me.
Or tell Siri too. Telling your spouse to remind you of something is really like just a way of passing the buck of responsibility to them, all the time. So that when invariably you or they forget, you got somebody to blame. It's a great.
You forgot to remind me.
You forgot to remind me.
It was your responsibility in the first place, but you were supposed to remind me. That's perfect.
Every married person out there right now is like, yes, that happens to me. So the person who's losing weight, their hormones are in a great place. Motivation is up. We are ready to get down into this fat loss phase again. Because what's around the corner? Halloween's around the corner. Thanksgiving's around the corner. Christmas is around the corner.
I think it's funny that Halloween is like a big deal holiday because it's one night. It's like one night. It's not even like. It's like
dude, one thing I did not realize
after dark until midnight is Halloween.
Well, now they trick or treat starting on like 4 days before.
No.
Trunk or treat, and then it's like a candy fest for at least 2 weeks. I didn't realize this before coaching people on their nutrition, that Halloween is really the kickoff for the eating season.
It is funny though.
It trips up so many adults.
Yeah. There's so much candy because it's like that night, but then candy's lingering.
They're stealing their kids' candy. They can't throw their kids' candy away.
When's the last time I had Junior Mints? I gotta get some of those.
Even adults know to skip the trash candy.
Junior Mint's not trash candy.
No, I was thinking
movie ones.
I was thinking of like circus peanuts and those little brown and white striped things in the clear wrapper. Generic hot tamales.
All right, are you done with the nutrition section?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, training. What are we going to do during this phase? 3 to 5 strength workouts per week. You know, that was easy. So we're going to still do 2 to 3 conditionings per week, and we're still going to get our steps. If you were doing a linear progression and you went off and you're doing some
Did it get more complicated?
We were doing some higher sets. Let's go back now to the linear progression because I bet you were off for long enough that you can start to add some weight again to the bar. So back to the 3x5s. Still keep up with those 4 sets. Let's go back to the original, movements you were doing to keep it easy back when we started in January. So you flipped up your accessory movements. Let's go back to the other ones, but now we're doing 4 sets. I think you're going to still continue to make progress there and keep those conditioning workouts intense.
Basically what you're describing is you're periodizing within the periodization. You're periodizing the training program, the strength progression within these blocks to make sure you're making progress.
Yeah, I like to make, definitely, I balance trying to keep it fun for everybody. That's why I have these I love these exciting finishers I give everybody. And, but you want to still make progress. You can't just do something different every day to make it fun, but you need to be doing some of the same things, but in a fun way.
Yeah.
I think that's the balance right there.
Yeah.
All right. Last phase. November through December.
Speaking of the eating season.
This is all about flexibility.
Mm-hmm. Think about what happens between November and December.
A bunch of like interruptions to your schedule.
Right.
A bunch of eating engagements.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now
it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a time of year where maybe it's not the best time to be focused on fat loss. Not that you shouldn't care about getting healthy and that kind of stuff. Don't sabotage yourself.
Don't say screw these last 2 months of the year.
Right.
They don't count.
But
that's not what we're talking about.
But release yourself from the pressure that you have to be trying to lose fat all year round.
Yeah.
Give yourself the opportunity to do what we're about to say here. You'll feel better about it mentally, and you'll be ready to wrap back around to where we started. We talked about how you're coming out of a season and you're super motivated in January. This is the season that leads you up to being super motivated in January.
I want to do a quick disclaimer because I feel like I'm going to forget it before we end this podcast. If you listen to this and you're ready to get started and it's April, don't wait until January to start this periodization.
Yeah.
Jump in, download the slides off Instagram, jump in April, start where we are in April, and then by November, December, you are here and you're ready to wrap back around to January. Don't make this one of those things where you're like, okay, I want to do this starting January 2024. No, it's January 2023. Start where you are right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it's February right now. I've just realized it's February. You can start in February. Catch on. Let's go.
Yeah.
3 months.
We're not equinox. You can start whenever.
Yes. Okay.
We will help you wherever you are in this cycle. Okay, so our healthy BMI person, what are we doing with our nutrition here during the holiday season? We're going to flex our maintenance skills. We're going to cruise through the holidays, eating at our maintenance calories, or even give ourselves permission to think of this as a strength building phase, muscle building phase, and eat a little bit larger of a surplus than we did at the beginning of the year, up to about a 10% surplus. A 10% surplus is still going to maximize your chances of building mostly muscle, especially if you keep your macronutrients in check and just aren't like freebasing lard, super high fat stuff, because all that extra dietary fat will be converted to body fat much more easily. But if you're eating in a normal, healthy way, a 10% calorie surplus is still safe. And if you're the skinny fat person, or you're just still super under muscled, go for that 10% and take advantage of it. Just like every other cycle where we have focused on building, we're going to pull protein back to 0.8 grams, and we're going to push carbohydrates to fuel our training, going into the mindset of like, I have these extra calories to build muscle. I'm going to make it up. I'm going to go for it. Fiber's the same. Not even going to talk about that. All right, let's talk about our overweight and obese friends. Same thing here. We're going to focus on maintenance during this time. We're not going to focus on eating in a calorie surplus. We're going to try to eat at a number of calories that keeps our body weight at the same level as the progress we've made so far. The only way to know this is to monitor your metrics. Just continue to weigh yourself, continue to measure your waist, continue to take progress pictures. And that's for you, even if you're not somebody who's weighing and measuring their food and logging in MyFitnessPal. You can still hold yourself accountable by tracking your metrics, not just doing food tracking.
Yeah.
What does that say right there? I can't even read my own writing.
3 months.
Oh yeah, because the reason we're doing this, not only for the lifestyle reasons, but you've now been in a calorie deficit again previous to this for 3 months. It's time to tell your body energy is not scarce. No need to downregulate. No reason to ramp up leptin to make us, or ghrelin to make us super hungry. So it's a great strategy, both mentally and physically, for your body.
All right, in our training, you want to keep it simple this time of year, because you're probably going to have to be a little bit more flexible with your training schedule. But we're still going to try to hit 3 to 5 of our strength workouts. This is a great time of year to be in a strength phase, because you are going to have a surplus of calories. So if you're in that linear progression, I would say just keep it rolling through the end of the year, because you're likely going to be able to continue to add weight to the bar. Down your conditioning to 1 to 2 workouts per week, 1 short, 1 long, and 8 to 10,000 steps per day. On that long, I would even be okay with you doing like 1 conditioning workout and then like a 20-minute or more walk at a brisk pace, where like you can like have a conversation with somebody, but like you're like every once in a while you got to catch your breath. Like you're not just like sauntering, but you're working for it.
Yeah.
20 to 30 minutes.
At any moment you could break into a jog.
Yeah.
Like kind of on that threshold of your upper limits of walking.
Yeah, and that kind of stuff can be done, on a holiday, take a family member out with you, all that kind of stuff. So we're talking about flexibility both in our nutrition and our training during this time. And if like I said, if it's a good time of year to add weight, if you are not going to have your home gym available or your gym available, let's do body weight workouts. Let's do dumbbell workouts, whatever it is. Like I would keep it alive and keep doing your workouts. Yeah. But adjust based on your equipment of where you are.
2 reasons for that. You keep the habit alive so that when things are back to normal, you're not trying to dig out of a hole mentally like, oh my gosh, I got to get back to working out. It's been so long. I'm going to be so sore. That's number 1. Number 2 is it doesn't take a whole lot of volume to maintain the muscle that you've made. So even bringing your TheraBands with you on a trip and getting a pump in all the muscle groups, doing some 1 1/4 air squats to fatigue your legs, doing some wall sits, sending the signal to your muscle that like, don't go anywhere. Still going to need you.
You're just going to feel better if you do it. If you can get out there and do something for 20 minutes, you're going to feel better than if you didn't.
Get all the endorphins and stuff.
Yep.
Okay. Right. So we just laid out a year of essentially a plan for you. Like I said in the beginning, hold this loosely. It's a framework, not a prescription. Think about how it could apply to your life. Think about the questions that you have. Try to find answers for them. Reach out to us if it's something that you want us to give you our opinion on. And if you are ready to put a plan like this in place, then just reach out and apply for coaching, and we'll talk to you about what that would look like. All right. That's assuming that we continue to have power in the time that it takes to upload this episode.
Say stuff like that.
All right. Hope you guys enjoyed this. We'll catch you next week.
I hate when you say stuff like that. Oh, got to get some bigger headphones. I really like those headphones. They just kill me. Yeah.